Hello friends, welcome back to This Alaska Kitchen. It may not look like fall anymore outside in Alaska now that the leaves are gone and the snow has come, but it is still fall here in our kitchen. If you've been watching our previous videos, then you know we have spent a lot of time lately processing moose, and we picked our potatoes. And some of those ingredients are gonna be showing up in today's video. I also have a dessert that is a fun fall treat that I wanna share with you. So I hope you enjoy spending time with us in This Alaska Kitchen. All right, I have been wanting to make a butternut squash soup. It is definitely soup season. I just peeled these two butternut squash and I'm gonna get them roasting in the oven.
What's up? Looks like cantaloupe.
It's like a pumpkin. Everett was very interested in these butternut squash and was really excited to help me get all the seeds out into the trash. He grabbed his own spoon and brought it over so that he could do some scooping. He was also very eager to have a taste test. He is the sample king after all, but I did try to convince him to save his taste test until after they were baked. Okay.
You can eat this on its own.
Once it's cooked, you can, but
Okay.
not you. No, it's not cooked. It's not gonna taste good like that.
But anything you can, a lot of stuff you can eat.
It does look like a cantaloupe, but this is a squash. Just a quick side note, it is definitely easier to cut the squash with the flat side down. It doesn't wiggle as much. Then I added some avocado oil and salt and pepper and put them in the oven at 400 degrees for about 25 minutes. Next up, we're gonna cook up some bacon. I'm just gonna do it on a baking sheet here.
I can put one on.
I think that's perfect. I think a small pan will make this great.
Let's just do it that way.
Yeah, we gotta do it that way. That's right.
If we did that way,
It won't fit.
yeah. But if we did it that way, it won't. Hey, let me.
Have that, please. Thank you. Okay, give it back. Oops. Yeah, that was a good one.
I have one.
Next, it was time to cut up some celery and an onion, and of course, I used my favorite chopper for the onion. I will be sure to link it down in the description below. It's from Amazon, and it is so helpful in the kitchen. Then we added these things to a pot and started to saute them with a little bit of oil. So I just peeled a bunch of potatoes from our garden. These are gonna go in the soup. I'm also gonna be using the moose bone broth that I just made instead of chicken broth because I'm excited to try it out in a soup. Then Bennett joined me in the kitchen and chopped the potatoes to get them ready to add to the soup. It's time to take the butternut squash and turn it into a puree. That was fast. This is looking really good. It is boiled for a little while. I am going to hit it with this immersion blender just to thicken it up a little bit. I want a little bit of chunk to it, just not the huge potato chunk. So I'm gonna just hit it a few times with the immersion blender. The final two ingredients are some cream, and then you sprinkle some of the cooked bacon on top. Perfect fall soup. Now the recipe calls for 1 jar of butternut squash. I obviously didn't have that. I tried one from Costco last year and the Sonoma butternut squash tasted so weird. So I just roasted my own. 2 small squash or 1 large squash would be enough for a yummy soup. favorite could hardly wait and then devoured several bowls of the soup, and I don't blame him because it's an absolute favorite of mine as well. I truly cannot let fall pass by without making a big pot of delicious butternut squash soup.
I put a little water and it made it more like a liquid. It is a liquid.
It is a liquid, you're right.
Thank you, Mom.
Ever since we harvested our potatoes out of the garden, I have wanted to make a potato soup. I found a recipe for a loaded slow cooker baked potato soup, so that's what I'm gonna make today, because even better, I can make it this morning, and then when the craziness of after school and dinner time rolls around, most of dinner will already be ready. So I'm gonna prepare it now. I don't use the slow cooker a ton when it comes to game meat. I feel like if you are not careful and cook it for too long, it can get a bad flavor. But when I do use the crock pot, I am reminded how much I love it for simplifying dinner time. 1 cup of milk, 1 cup of cream, so the recipe calls for chicken stock, but I just made this moose bone broth. I'm using it in everything that I can because it just has so many good properties to it. Oops, that was kind of messy. 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. We're gonna whisk that together. So it is another cold fall day here in Alaska. It's about 30 degrees outside. The snow has all melted and we haven't got new snow, but we have absolutely no leaves left. We're still sitting on fall for a little while. You know, if we're cutting up an onion, I gotta get my chopper out. All right, adding some salt and some pepper. And then we're gonna let it cook for 6 hours on low or 3 hours on high. I have enough time to let it go 6 hours on low, and then we'll add a few other ingredients right before we serve it. This has been cooking for about 6 hours now in the crock pot. We're gonna add some shredded cheese. We're also gonna add sour cream, but I have to wait for Mark to get home with that. And also some bacon crumbles. I've also made a yummy chopped salad. And then we have some of these pineapple and bacon chicken sausages that will go great on the side. It's gonna be a great meal.
I don't ever have hamburgers.
The masher was working all right. I like my potato soup to be a little bit more creamy, so I got out my immersion blender and I'm gonna just blend it up a little bit. I still want some chunks in it, but I wanna get some of the bigger chunks with this. Still has some chunks, but much creamier. Oops. Having dinner together as often as possible is part of our family culture. It is not always easy or well behaved, but it is something that we know is important. It gives us a chance to help the boys learn how to cook, we pray together, and we talk as we enjoy a meal. We also have this Modern Manners for Teens spiral calendar that you see next to Mark. It is a 52-week calendar of creative and crucial tips for teens that will help both their parents and teenagers navigate our modern world with confidence. It creates such great discussions, and I will include it in the description below. We have been really happy to have it at our dinner table. All right, it is time for dessert, and we are going to be making my cinnamon roll caramel popcorn. I got my popcorn here. I got some bowls. You actually do it in the microwave, which makes it nice and easy. So let's get going. I use an air popper to pop my popcorn, but you can also pop the kernels in a paper bag in the microwave, or even use a bagged popcorn. If you use the bagged popcorn, be sure to leave out the salt from the recipe. Now that I have my big bowl of popcorn, I put on gloves and I go through the whole thing and make sure to get out any kernels that didn't pop. Because in my opinion, one of the worst things that can happen is if you're eating this nice chewy caramel popcorn and you bite down on a seed, it's terrible and you can break a tooth. Remember, most of the kernels are gonna be down at the bottom, and so I kind of shake it as I go and make sure the heavier kernels go to the bottom. But you'd be surprised, sometimes there's some kernels stuck lurking in the top. So I pretty much go through the whole bowl and transfer it from one bowl to the other and end up getting out the kernels. I call this my cinnamon roll popcorn, and that is because the next step for me is to add cinnamon. I have tried it many ways, and I find the best flavor comes if you add the cinnamon right to the dry popcorn. It gets kind of in all the nooks and crannies and you can actually taste it. The first couple of times I made this popcorn, I put the cinnamon on after the caramel and you somehow just lose the flavor. So cinnamon is next. Next, with a few simple ingredients, we're gonna make the caramel. And I'm gonna have a little helper for this. Hey, come on in and help. Okay, can you unwrap the butter and put it in the bowl?
I love butter.
You love butter?
To eat.
Okay, but we're gonna make it into caramel this time.
Let me just have a little bit.
Nope, please don't.
Oh, I open it up. Sorry.
Put it in the bowl.
That looks so weird.
You dump that in.
Yes, yes. Right on it.
We're cutting up the butter just so that it will melt quicker.
I want to try some.
Yep, you can try some. All right, now this goes into the microwave for 30 seconds. Stir, another 30 seconds, stir, then 2 minutes in the microwave.
Okay, I get to stir. Yay, I get to stir. This is my church.
Okay, let's stir.
I can stir. Oh, I can stir.
Stir it, and then we put it back in for 2 more minutes. Okay, good.
1 little bit.
I am gonna put in just a little bit of salt
Mix that in.
because our popcorn is not salted. Okay, now I'm gonna take this though because this bowl is very, very hot. We need 2 more minutes in the microwave.
Okay, I'm going back home.
All right, it is very hot and bubbly. This is where the magic happens. We put in 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda and 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and it causes this chemical reaction. And then when we mix it together, it bubbles up, and this is making our caramel. Now this may not look like enough caramel, but it goes a long ways. And it's best done with a 2-person job. Bennett's gonna stir while I pour the caramel in. Okay, so. You do need to move quickly because you don't want it to just like be a clump of caramel in the middle, which kind of can happen if you're not careful. You gotta really move it around to get that caramel worked in. Probably should have done it in 2 bowls just so we had more room to work with the caramel, but once you get it all worked out, it's enough. Around here, we love soft caramel popcorn, so we eat it just like this. You can put it in the oven at 200 degrees for 1 hour, stirring every 10 minutes, and then you will get more of a crunchy texture. We prefer it soft. Sometimes if we're feeling very extra, we will drizzle white chocolate on it. That just like takes it over the top for the cinnamon roll popcorn, but I think even just the cinnamon takes it to a whole new level. I've also had a lot of fun with this popcorn, adding other things like dark chocolate and coconut. It's kind of like a Girl Scout Samoa cookie. So you can play around with it with this as your base. It is yummy. Thank you so much for spending time with us in this Alaska kitchen. We are so grateful for each and every one of you, and we will see you again real soon for more of this Alaska life. And Miss Luna didn't want you to miss her in the video. She's sitting here on my lap while I'm editing it. Can you say hi? Yeah. Okay, see you later.